Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, which is the NECA Xenomorph Warrior from Alien Resurrection. So this figure is quite hard to get here in the UK now. In fact, I only remember seeing it very briefly at Forbidden Planet a couple of years ago. I've always wanted to add one to my collection because I at least wanted one of each design of Alien from each of the films. So I've got the Big Chap, I've got an Aliens Warrior, but it's an original version, so I do want to get the current reissue, but my god, they're so expensive. I do have the original Dog Alien, but I would like to upgrade to the Ultimate, but like I say, that's also really pricey, like most NECA figures are nowadays. And then there's this one. Now, I've often wondered if NECA would do an Ultimate of this version, but somehow I don't think that's going to happen because I think NECA have openly displayed their disdain for this film. But I'm not going to lie, even though this isn't an Alien film that I like in any way, I did really love the design for the standard Aliens, not that Abomination newborn thing, but yeah, the standard Aliens I thought were really cool, so I was happy that NECA released them. And pretty much to sum these aliens up, if you guys have seen the Alien vs Predator Alien Warrior, it is basically that, but it has more insect-like legs, you know, instead of just the more traditional single joint legs. You've got these sort of, very insectoid kind of legs, which I'm not going to lie, I've never been a fan of. I always prefer my aliens to stand on 2 feet. That's just the way I am. But I really do think this is a cool design. Now, I found these on eBay from this seller who was selling them. I was a little bit wary, just because I was worried, you know, could they be knockoffs? I don't actually think there are any knockoffs of these alien figures out there yet, but if they do start appearing on AliExpress, like those Superman and Batman 2-packs, yeah, they're not genuine, they're knockoffs, so you've got to be careful with that. But I don't think there have been knockoffs of these ones yet, so if you can find them for a good price, guys, definitely pick them up. So as you can see, packaging has been opened, but you've got this very nice picture of the alien on the side, and on that side as well. So this is the traditional clamshell packaging that has been completely abandoned at this point. In fact, I think these were some of the last figures to ever have this kind of packaging, you know, which I do like it presentation wise, but you know, it does make it difficult for resealing, obviously, you know. But you do have the Alien Resurrection logo. It's very dusty, so obviously this guy who I bought them from's had it packed away for quite a while. And then on the back, got nice picture again. Unfortunately, there's a barcode printed on it, so I can't quite read all of that, but it's basically explaining the plot of Resurrection. You've got the Ripley 8, which I have no interest in getting because it's not Ripley. You've got this figure here, and you've got the Newborn. Now, I had an opportunity to get the Newborn, and I must admit, it's a fantastic figure. I hate the creature, and I hate its design, but it's a fantastic figure. So I do kind of regret not picking it up, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, I don't really like it, so it's probably best that we just stick with this. As you say, standard clamshell design. You've got Alien, Xenomorph Warrior at the front, choking hazard 17 and up. You've got all the credits at the bottom here. And you see this was 2019 this came out, so I think I had just started university and I actually saw a couple of these in Forbidden Planet. Should have picked them up, but, you know, I've got them now. So I've actually bought 2 of these guys, so I'll just reach off and get him. So I've got one out of the package to show you guys. Now, I was very lucky, actually, because I've heard nightmare stories about these guys having awful joints. Well, this one is a bit loose in the legs, so I've chosen to repackage him just so I can show you what it looks like in the box. So we'll put him off to one side, and then we'll take a look at this open version. Now, I have actually, believe it or not, been able to get him to stand really well since I've had him, but for some reason within the past day or so, his legs have suddenly gotten really loose. I'm not really sure why. I was balancing him really well, but now they've just decided, no, we're going to go loose, so that's really annoying. But maybe I can get him to stand. Yeah. So you can get him to stand with a little bit of balance. And if I just bring in the 40th anniversary Big Chap, you can see that this guy absolutely towers over him when he stands straight. But obviously, these aliens are always somewhere down here because they tend to crawl on all fours. This is the only alien that really stands up on two legs. So he isn't really meant to stand like this, but if you do get him stood up, you're talking about 9 inches, you know, possibly even slightly bigger than that. But you're always going to have this kind of slightly hunched look just because of the nature of the joints. But I just want to show off the absolutely phenomenal detail on this guy. And this is what I always loved about these aliens, was that kind of evil smile they've got, you know, it's just like, just grim. And you've got the very insect-like design. What I love is that you've still got Giga's sort of biomechanical look in there. Like, even though they've gone for a more organic look with this design, they still have the sort of more mechanical looking bits. I have to say, I think as a design, this was a huge step up from the dog alien, which I never liked. Personally, I felt it deviated far too much from what the creature was. I mean, it wasn't awful, but I never was that fond of it. But I think this was definitely a step up. So, yeah, the detail on this guy's absolutely fantastic. You know, I really love how NECA have brought this to life. But unfortunately, because of the nature of the design, what you're left with are these very lanky legs. And while you can get it to balance, I personally would not be comfortable leaving this like this. You know, it would have to have a stand, but I have to say that is a really, really cool pose. So we'll take a look at the articulation. So the head can go from side to side, but it is quite tight on this figure. It can also go forward and back, but you do kind of have to be very, very careful. Now, I was able to get the joint to work, kind of, but sadly, it doesn't work how it's fully supposed to. I think the head is meant to come right the way back, but I can never get it to work, so really it just kind of looks up and down. As I say, you can open the mouth. You can get the tongue to pop out, but I can't seem to do that on mine for some reason. You can bring the arms out to about 90 degrees, as well as a full rotation. You've got a nice double bend on the elbows, so you can bring the arms right the way up. There's also a rotation, which is really nice. The hands can rotate and also come forward and back, and the fingers can also come right the way in. So if you want the alien to grab something, you can do that very easily. There is a full rotation at the ab crunch, and also forward and back, but it's a little bit wonky on mine. So yeah, you can, I think you can go from side to side ever so slightly, but not very well. The legs can come right the way forward or right the way back, whichever way you want to take them. They can also come out and they're on a ratchet joint. Well, this side is anyway, that side isn't. I've never understood that design. There is a rotation at the knee. There's a double bend at the knee. There is also a bend at this piece, and a rotation at the foot, and also a forward and back. And there is also articulation at the toes. And like I say, the more that you use these joints, the more you're going to weaken them, unfortunately. Yeah, like I'm already experiencing a bit of a loose foot. So, like I say, when I picture these aliens, this is the pose that I tend to picture them, you know, much more down, so they're not quite as upright as the Big Chap. But yeah, you can achieve that very well, but like I say, if you do want more of the dynamic poses, you are going to have to use the assistance of a stand. However, because they have these really, really big tails, what is good about them is they can kind of act as a third leg for the figure, so they can support the figure really well if you just want to leave it like this, you know, and there is a very good bendy wire in the tail, very, very good. As you can see, I've already gotten it in quite a nice rotating pose. I think, no, there isn't. I thought there was a rotation at the top of the tail, but I don't think there is. So, overall, the articulation is actually really nice on this figure, but like I say, typical NECA, I have got quite loose feet, and these joints here are quite loose, you know, just because they're so small, and like I say, these legs are so tiny, they have to hold up this gigantic head. I would definitely recommend that you have the assistance of a stand for this guy. I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with the appearance of the dome. You can see the skull inside, and the dome has this really nice kind of frosting to it, and you've got that sort of smoky brown kind of implemented in there, which is really nice. And you see it goes more black towards the face, so it kind of keeps it a mystery, which I do like. You know, compare that to the Big Chap where the skull is actually completely visible. Although I don't know, I am a huge fan of seeing the skull, but I think the more blackened out domes works better for this design. But I do think there should definitely be something visible in there, you know, just to add a bit more mystery to it. I really, really love the paintwork on this guy. You've got this nice mixture of lighter and darker browns over the black plastic to really highlight all of these details, which is really nice. Very, very well done. You see, you've got the more sort of glossy areas, which really give it an organic look. I really like these kind of tubing on the back. Whereas on the Big Chap, they were more mechanical, but here they're more octopus-like, which is interesting. One of the main features of these aliens was they could swim, so you've got the kind of tail fins, and I even think, you know, the design as a whole looks like it is more for underwater, which I think was a very, very cool scene. So for those of you wondering, this is actually a repaint of a figure that came out before this, and these aliens were featured with the Batman and Superman 2-packs. Like I said, they're very hard to get hold of now. Most of them you'll come across will be bootlegs, but I think the sculpt was intended for this release, but this is actually a repaint of figures that have previously come out. So yeah, a good way of part reuse, I think, definitely. I have been able to get my joint to work roughly, so you can push it back like this if you want a more down on all fours look, which is really, really nice. I actually really like that. So you can get the head to go quite far back. I don't want to attempt to push it forward because I really don't want to break this joint, but basically it is a ball joint. So I actually really like this joint and the way they've done this. It's just a shame that this bit here just seems to be really difficult to move. It's probably because some paint has gotten in there, but I'm sure maybe with a bit of heat you could get it to work. But like I say, I can actually get my head to go back, which is really good, so you can achieve that if you want to. And yeah, overall I think this is a really, really cool alien, so I'm very happy to add it to my collection. I'm very happy that I have two of them, because it's always nice to have at least two, I would say, especially if you're trying to build an army. You know, it's great to have more than just one. Obviously, in the case of the Big Chap and the dog alien, there were only one of those two, so I'm fine with that. But when it comes to aliens and Alien Resurrection, I would like to have quite a few. So it would be nice if I could pick up a couple of more of these, but you never know. Brand new, I think it's going for about £50 or £60 on eBay. Like I say, I got these second hand, but the seller said they were hardly ever played with. They were very well looked after. Yeah, they're really, really good. So good quality enough, and I'm really, really happy with them. So overall, I'd give this a solid... I give it a 7 out of 10, and I would love to give it higher than that because it does look like a really amazing figure, but unfortunately, because of the loose joints, you know, it really does make it difficult to love, if that makes sense. You know, I don't really want to move it too much, but like I say, I'm not sure whether to blame NECA for this or, you know, they are just trying to stay true to how the design was in the film. And I almost feel if maybe they should have gone down the McFarlane route of just having this as one solid piece. But then, you know, you can adjust the poses quite well, and with the assistance of a stand, I'm sure you'll be able to get this guy looking really, really good. Okay, so I'd like to thank you guys for watching this review. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please be sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this figure. Do you have it? Are you planning on getting it? Really happy to have added it to my collection. Like I say, it's going to make my alien display look really, really cool. And while I'm definitely not a fan of the Alien Resurrection film, I do really appreciate this design. In fact, like I've said, it is my second favourite design next to the Alien Big Chap, so I'm really, really happy with this figure. I think it's a very good representation of what you see on screen, and yeah, really, really cool. If you're an Alien fan and you haven't gotten hold of one of these yet, I'd highly recommend you try and track one down. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.